Chapter 7.1 covers ratios and proportions. The number of students who participate in the sports program at Central High School is 520. The total number of students in the school is 1,850, and we want to find the athlete-to-student ratio to the nearest tenth. To set this up, we need to look at the number of athletes and divide that by the total number of students. So that would be 520 over 1850, which is approximately 0.3. So the athlete to student ratio is 0.3. The country with the longest school year is China, with 251 days. Find the ratio of the school days to the total days in a year for China to the nearest tenth. Use 365 as the number of days in a year. So 251 divided by 365 gives us approximately 0.7. which we could write as 0.7 to 1. In triangle EFG, the ratio of the measures of the angles is 5 to 12 to 13. So if we look at that, it could be any multiples of 5, 12, and 13. So 5x, 12x, and 13x. The measures of the angles in a triangle add up to be 180. So if we add the three angles and set it equal to 180, we can solve for x. This will give us 30x equals 180. So x equals 6. Now to answer the question, we're asked to find the measures of the angles. So one of the angles would be 5 times 6, which is 30 degrees. Another one would be 12 times 6, which is 72 degrees. And the third one would be 13 times 6, which is 78 degrees. Now I realize we could do guess and check for this problem, but to get credit on a test or a quiz or homework, you need to show the equation and all your work. The ratios of the angles in triangle ABC is 3, 5, 7. Find the measures of the angles. So 3x plus 5x plus 7x equals 180. So 15x equals 180. And we end up with x equals 12. 3 times 12 is 36 degrees. 5 times 12 is 60 degrees. And 7 times 12 is 84 degrees. So the answer would be B. You've done this in Algebra 1 and pre-algebra, where you would cross multiply to solve the problem. So for the first problem, because there are two fractions on either side of the equal sign, I would cross multiply, so 6 times y equals 18.2 times 9. And then I would solve for y. And y equals 27.3. Again, for problem B, we have two fractions. So we're going to cross multiply again. So 6 times 4x minus 5 equals 3 times negative 26. distribute, and then solve for x. Again, cross multiply. And solve for b. And we do the same for problem b. Monique randomly surveyed 30 students from her class and found that 18 had a dog or cat for a pet. If there are 870 students in her school, predict the total number of students with a dog or a cat. So we know out of her class, 18 out of 30 had a dog or a cat. There's 870 students in the school, and we don't know how many of them, or we want to predict how many have a dog or a cat. So we would set up this proportion and then cross multiply and solve. So we're going to predict, this is only a prediction, it's not written in stone that there's 522 students that have a dog or a cat. So this is a prediction. Brittany randomly surveyed 50 students and found that 20 had a part-time job. So 20 over 50 is our ratio, which we can reduce to 2 over 5. If there's 810 students in her school, predict the total number of students with a part-time job. So we'll let X stand for the number of students with a part-time job. Cross multiply and solve for X. So we're going to predict that 324 students have a part-time job in her school. And that concludes the lesson for 7-1.